Before it connected the world, Nokia was just trying to survive the cold. 1865. No signals, no electronics, just wood, paper, and pulp. For decades, they didn't sell phones. They sold boots. They sold tires. They were the ground beneath your feet. But then, the world needed a nervous system. Nokia spun the copper threads that linked east to west. Finland was neutral ground, a bridge between the Soviet Union and the West, perfect for trade. They pivoted. From rubber to radio, the Mobira era began. It weighed 5 kilos. It cost as much as a car. But it was freedom.
When Gorbachev made that call from Helsinki, Nokia became a superpower.
The 90s. The analog signal died. GSM was born. And Nokia wrote the language. They stopped making everything else. No more tires, no more paper, all in on mobile. It wasn't just tech, it was culture. For the first time, you could leave the house and still be found. By the late 90s, they weren't just a company. They were the masters of the universe. Francisco Tárrega wrote a waltz for guitar in 1902. He never knew it would become the anthem of the digital age. Copyright laws were strict. They needed a sound that was free. So they stole a snippet from the past.
Suddenly, that sound was everywhere. Tokyo, London, New York.
Phones stopped being tools. They became jewelry. If you didn't have a Nokia, you were invisible. 1996. The communicator, email, fax, internet, in your pocket. It was heavy. It was clunky. But it was 10 years ahead of the iPhone.
Then came the Matrix, the 8110, the banana phone. Sci-fi became reality.
Customization. Express on covers. We changed phone colors like we changed clothes. 1998, the moment happened. Motorola was dethroned. Nokia was now the king of mobile. They were shipping millions of units a week. A logistical miracle. Europe, Asia, Africa. Only the US resisted, but the rest of the world belonged to Finland. But the biggest hit was yet to come. The device that would become a meme.
The Navi key. One button to rule them all. Intuitive, simple. My grandmother could use it.
They flooded the market. A phone for the CEO, a phone for the teenager, a phone for the builder. The 8210. So small it could get lost in a pocket. It was the ultimate flex. Nokia House, a fortress of glass and steel in Espoo, the center of the mobile world. Decisions weren't made in boardrooms. They were made here, in the sauna, the Finnish way. Highest market valuation in Europe. They had more money than their government. The world feared Y2K, planes falling from the sky, computers crashing.
But when the clock struck midnight, the networks held, and everyone called to say, Happy New Year!
But amidst the champagne, engineers were finishing a new design. Codename NHM5. Cheap plastic, simple screen, no antenna. They stripped it down to the bone. They didn't know it yet. But they just packed a cultural nuclear bomb. The golden age begins now. September 2000. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't thin, but it was built to survive the apocalypse. You could drop it, throw it, run it over. The screen might scratch, but the signal never died. T9 texting. We learned to type without looking. Under desks, In pockets, a secret language.
Snake, the dawn of mobile gaming. We lost hours of our lives chasing a pixelated tail. The 1100. It had a flashlight. In developing nations, this wasn't a feature. It was a lifeline.
The charger. You only needed it once a week. We forgot where we plugged it in because we used it so rarely. Composer mode. We didn't buy ringtones. We wrote them, note by note.
Customization. The phone was personal. It was an extension of your outfit. The N-Gage, a taco-shaped disaster. They tried to beat Nintendo, but they forgot it was a phone. The 7650, the first camera. The photos were blurry pixels, but magic happened. We stopped carrying cameras. They got weird. Lipstick phones, butterfly keyboards. They threw everything at the wall to see what stuck. 2005, 1 billion customers. Nokia wasn't just winning. They were the only player in the game. The N95. It wasn't a phone. It was a multimedia computer. The Swiss Army knife of tech. 5 megapixels. Carl Zeiss lens. We threw away our digital cameras because this was better. GPS in your pocket. Maps, music, video. It did everything the iPhone would do 2 years earlier. But inside, a mess. Symbian OS. Powerful, but built with spaghetti code. To add one feature, engineers had to rewrite the whole system. It was a labyrinth. Meanwhile, America loved flip phones. Nokia refused to adapt. They ignored the US market. They had a touchscreen prototype years before Apple, but the executives killed it. Too expensive, they said. 50% global market share. They were selling more phones than anyone in history. Hubris. They thought the game was about hardware, about who could drop their phone on the floor. They didn't see the ecosystem coming. They didn't see the App Store. January 2007. The invite arrived in Cupertino. The world was about to shift. The king is dead. Long live the king. January 9th, 2007. Steve Jobs walked on stage. He didn't introduce 3 devices. He introduced 1.
No keyboard. No stylus. Just a sheet of glass. It looked fragile.
Nokia executives laughed. It breaks if you drop it. It has no 3G. The battery sucks. They dismissed it as a toy. They measured it by their own standards. Durability. But they forgot to measure desire.
The pinch, the swipe. It felt like magic. We weren't just using the internet. We were touching it.
Nokia panicked. They rushed out the 5800. You had to stab it with a plastic pen just to make it click. And while they stared at Apple, a search engine company was building an army in the shadows. Android. It wasn't phone versus phone. It was ecosystem versus wasteland. Apple had the App Store. Nokia had nothing. The N97, the iPhone killer. It had a keyboard. It had specs. It was supposed to save them. It was a disaster. It crashed. It lagged. They shipped it before the software was finished. Trust evaporated. For the first time, people felt embarrassed to hold a Nokia. Desperate, they hired an outsider.
From Microsoft.
A Microsoft executive. February 2011. Stephen Elop sends a memo. We are standing on a burning platform. He told the company, jump into the freezing water or burn. It was a declaration of war on their own history. He killed Symbian OS. He killed Migo. He admitted their software was trash, publicly. Google offered Android. It was free. It was popular. But Nokia said no. They chose Windows Phone. A platform with no users, no apps. They bet the farm on a losing horse. The interface was beautiful, different. But nobody wanted to relearn how to use a phone. They had one last masterpiece, the N9. Critics loved it, but Elop threw it to trash before it even launched. The Osborne effect. By announcing the Switch too early, nobody bought the old Nokias anymore. Sales fell off a cliff. 40% drop in 1 quarter. The cash pile started to burn. The Lumia arrived. It was colorful. It was fast. But the shelves were empty. No Instagram, no YouTube, no WhatsApp. A smartphone without apps is just a brick. The money was gone. The time was up. The end was near. September 2013. The bleeding had to stop. The board made the call. Sell the devices division. $7.2 billion. That's all it was worth. Less than what they paid for Skype. The chairman cried. We didn't do anything wrong, but somehow we lost.
The sign came down. The Finnish flag was lowered. The Americans had taken over.
25,000 employees transferred to Microsoft. But they weren't building Nokias anymore. Lumia became Microsoft Lumia. The name Nokia was banned from smartphones.
Factories in India, China, Finland went silent. The machines stopped humming.
Then came the layoffs, the biggest in tech history. A generation of engineers out on the street. From 300 billion to 7 billion in 5 years. A wealth destruction speed run. Was it Elop? Was it Apple? Or was it success itself that made them blind? The phone company was dead. The story should have ended here. But Nokia has a second soul. And it was hiding in the cables. They stopped putting phones in your hand. Instead, they built the invisible web that connects them. Nokia bought Alcatel-Lucent. They bought the pipes, the routers, the backbone of the internet. Your Instagram feed, your Netflix stream, it probably travels through Nokia hardware.
5G, the speed of light. While you mocked their phones, they were building the future.
But wait, you still see Nokia phones in stores. Who makes them? HMD Global, a licensing deal. They rented the name. It's a ghost wearing the old king's armor. The new 3310. It looks like the old one, but it doesn't feel the same. But here is the twist. Nokia makes 400 euros every time a car is built. Every time an iPhone is sold. Patents, 5G standards. Apple pays Nokia. Samsung pays Nokia. They tax the entire industry. And now, NASA hired them. Nokia is building the first 4G network on the moon. They aren't a sexy consumer brand anymore. They are a boring, profitable infrastructure giant. They return to their roots, B2B, infrastructure, just like the rubber and the cables. This is Althea, your tour guide through history.